Good morning. We are in Tuf Kuf Pei Tes Sif Gimel. Tuf Kuf Pei Tes Sif Gimel. Isha Patura Mishum Dahavi Mitzvah Sasei Shazman Grama. A woman is patur from blowing shofar, and therefore, because it's a mitzvah Sasei Shazman Grama, we only blow shofar on Rosh Hashana as a mitzvah, and so she's patura. Daled. Androgynous motzi esmino. And androgynous is someone who has indeterminate gender. Androgynous is someone that has both genders. And an androgynous can be motzi someone else that also has both genders. Tumtum afil esmino ena motzi. A tumtum, someone that has indistinguishable genders or covered gender, cannot be motzi even another tumtum. And the reason for this is that androgynous, there's machlokes as to whether an androgynous and tumtum are considered a min b'fnei atzmo, but the point is that androgynous is determinate, it's known to have both genders. But a tumtum, it's indeterminate gender. So maybe this particular tumtum is female and the next tumtum is male. So that's why it's not motzi esmino. Hey, misha chetzio eved v'chetzio ben chorin, eino motzi afilu atzmo. Someone who is a half eved and half freed, that means that he was owned by two masters and one master freed him. Eino motzi afilu atzmo. Even if he blows for himself, he's not yotzei. He needs a full-fledged ben chorin to be motzi. And the reason for that is that the eved side in him is not mechuyev in the mitzvah, and so the eved side in him cannot be motzi the ben chorin side that's in him. Vav, because as we saw that an eved is mechuyev in mitzvahs like a woman, and a woman is patur in shofar because it's mitzvah seishas man grama. Vav, even though women are patur from the mitzvah of shofar, they're able to blow, because at least a woman is completely a woman, and she's not trying to be motzi a tzad male that's in her. So she's allowed to blow for herself. And someone who already blew shofar is able to blow for women to be motzi women. But they can't make the brachas, and similarly, the person who is already yotzi shofar should not make the brachas for women. Haga, so the Rama says, the Ashkenazi minhag is that women do make a bracha on a mitzvah sasei shazman grama, even though they are patur midaraisa. Even though they're patur. So in the case of shofar, the women should make the bracha for themselves. But someone else who already yotze the mitzvah should not make a bracha for them. And someone should not do tkiyas just for women. But if they blow shofar even for one man that is chayav in shofar, so then there can be very many women present. Then they would make the bracha. Even though the people blowing were already yotze. Kamoshins barasim taf kuf pei hey sif beis aga alaf. Zayin hamudah hana mechavero mutalot koalot kiyashal mitzvah. Someone who made a neder that he would not have hana from his friend. He's allowed to blow shofar on Rosh Hashana and be motzi. That's only if he is blowing shofar anyway, and this person who's mudar hana is listening. But if the mudar hana says, blow for me shofar, blow for me, and be motzi me, asur, because then you're blowing shofar for him, you're giving him hana. Haga, other Amar writes, if it was a neder that makes the chefza of the sound aser, b'chol inyan aser, then he can't have enough from it. So the rule here in Zion is that mitzvahs lav lehenes ninhu, but if you're doing him a special favor and you're doing his shlichus, so then it's hana that you're doing that you're doing a shlichus for him. So that's why it becomes asar. But unless the sound of the shofar was made a chetza shel isar, we generally say mitzvahs lav lehenes ninhu, and the sound of the shofar is the mitzvah, and that's not giving him hana. Ches hamisasek with kiyas shofar le'islamed, someone who's busy with kiyas shofar just to learn how to blow on Rosh Hashana, lo yotze dei chavasa. He's not yotze. Someone who's listening to someone practicing how to blow on Rosh Hashanah is not yotze. Someone who's blowing for music. Someone who doesn't have in mind to be yotze with this blowing. He's not that he's trying to learn how to blow. He's just blowing for the music. He's not yotze. If someone who's hearing this blowing, that the person blowing was not having in mind to be motzi anybody with it, but the person listening has in mind to be yotze, or if the person blowing has in mind to be motzi the person listening, but the person listening does not have in mind to be yotze, not yotze until both the person blowing and the person listening have in mind to be yotze the mitzvah. And going to shul to hear shofar is considered being miskaven. It doesn't have to be. You have to be actively listening. The entire time I'm being mechaven to be motzi. I'm being mechaven to be yotze and being mechaven to be motzi. If you had the general idea I'm being motzi everybody in the shul, or I'm coming to shul to be yotze, that counts. Tes mi shatakav niskaven lahotzi kol hashemeat kiyasam. Someone who blows shofar and he has in mind to be motzi anyone who hears. And the person hearing it has in mind to be yotze. Even though the person blowing didn't have in mind this particular individual, Reuven ben Shimon, this person heard his blowing, but the person blowing doesn't know him. Yatsa, he's still yotze. He had in mind to be motzi anyone that hears it. Someone who's walking down the road, or even sitting in his house, and he hears the tekiyas coming from the nearby shul. His window is open, the shul's windows are open. Yatsa and niskaven lotzes. The person hearing it is yotze if he had in mind to be yotze. Because the shliach tzibur has in mind to be motzi the rabbin, the public that hears it. And he doesn't have in mind only those people that I can see, only those people that are in this room. He has in mind to be motzi everybody. So, and this person sitting in his home had in mind to be yotze. Yeah, so he's yotze. Semen Tov Kuf Tzadik Seder Haroy L'Tkiyas Shofar. Aleph. Kama Tkiyas Chai Badam L'Shema B'Rosh Hashana. How many tkiyas does a person have to hear on Rosh Hashana? Teisha. He has to hear 9 kolos. L'Fishanem Trua Bayovel Uva Rosh Hashana Shalosh Pamim. It says Trua 3 times in the parsha of Yovel and Rosh Hashana. It says the word Trua. The whole trua pshut l'fana, pshut l'achara. We understand the psukim that there's a tekiah before every trua, and there's a tekiah after every trua. So, and if there's 3 truas, so that ends up with 9 altogether. And we have a limud that all of the truas of Chodesh Tishrei are considered one. So even though some are said by Yovel and some are said by Rosh Hashanah, but the kiyas that are blown on Yovel happen on Yom Kippur, which is in Chodesh Tishrei. And we have a limud, a Kabbalah, that that they're all, that even though psukim are talking about different times, but it's really referring to the same kind of Tekiah. So that's how we know that there's 9. Ben Rosh Hashana ben B'yom Kippur Shel Yovel. Tesha Tekiyas Token B'chol Echad Mishneim. So we understand that both in Yovel and in Rosh Hashanah, from the psukim, that they all apply to each, and so there has to be 9. What are the 9? Tarat, 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 which is Tekiah, Trua, Tekiah, Tekiah, Trua, Tekiah, Tekiah, Trua, Tekiah. Now's when it gets complicated. Beis, Trua Zu Amar B'Torah, this Trua that the Torah tells us to do, Nistapik Lanu Imhi Hayalala Shanakarim Trua. There's a suffix as to whether it's the short Yalala sobbing, staccato maybe. Yalala is actually like that keening sound. So there's a machlokes as to whether trua means that shanakam trua, or if it's more like the sobbing, which is more expanded over time. And so there's a machlokes as to whether it's staccato, if it's shvarim, or if it's the two combined. In order for us to cover all of our bases, this three-way suffix, tzarich liskor tashrat shalosh pa'amim, v'tashat shalosh pa'amim, v'tarat shalosh pa'amim. That's where we get Tekiah shvarm trua 3 times, Tekiah shvarm trua, Tekiah shvarm Tekiah 3 times, and Tekiah trua Tekiah 3 times. Is that making sense?
Well, it does. My dad used to blow shofar.
Yeah, well, we'll hear that after the recording. After the recording. Okay, so that's what we count now. In the Mechaber, these are all counted as 1, but we typically, when we're talking colloquially about Tekiyas, we'll say that Tashrat is not 3 blasts, but 4. So that's how we call a set of Tashrat, Tashat, and Tarat. We'll call that 30 kolos because we're counting the Tashrat. We're counting the Shvarm Trua as 2, even though, according to what we just said, it shouldn't be 30, it should really be 27. Okay, Gimel. Yesh Amr Shir Tekiah Ketrua. There are those that say that the shear, the length that a Tekiah should blast is the same length as a Trua. V'shir Trua Kishlosha Yavavos. And the shear of a Trua is 3 yavavas. Dahainu shlosha kolchos ba'alma kolshu. These are 3. That's the shear of 3 yavavas, where each yavava is 3 infinitesimal or 3 very short, the shortest blast that you can make. Vein nikram trumitin. So those are the small short blasts. So that ends up that a trua is 9 such blasts. Now, if trumitin are the shortest blasts, and a trua would be 3 of these, and in each one of them is 3 short ones. So now a shvarim cannot be as long as 3 of these shortest blasts. Because if you did, then it would be the same size as the Tekiah. The Rama writes, that it doesn't matter if a shvarim is a little bit longer, as long as it's not very long, and that is the actual minhag. Although people do try to be makbid that a shvarim is the length of 2 beats and not 3. You have to make the Tekiah of a Tashrat, the Tekiyas that come before and after the Shvarim Trua have to be longer than the Tekiyas that come before and after just the Shvarim. Uvishal Tashat, Yosem Uvishal Tarat. And the Tekiah of Tekiah Shvarim Trua has to be longer than the Tekiah of before and after the Tekiah Trua Tekiah. However, if you make the tkiyas longer, that's okay. The tkiyah only has to be as long as whatever form of this suffix trua that you're blowing in that set. That's the actual rule. But it is allowed to be longer. She'ein lo shir lamala, because there's no upper bound on how long the tkiyah can be. V'chein b'trua yochal harach bo ba kamo she'yirtze. Even the truas, you can make as many short blasts as you want when you're doing a trua, or even a shvarim. V'chein emosav al shlosha shvarim v'os arba or chamisha ein lachash. If you do 4 or 5 shvarim, that's also okay. V'yesh am sheshir yibava shlosha true meeting. There are those that say that the length of Yabava is 3 true meeting, not 1 beat each, but 3. V'shir true kishlosh Yabava shem tisha true meeting. Yeah, so I misspoke before. The first Yeshom is saying that a trua has to be as long as 3 beats, and now we're getting to the trua has to be as long as 9 beats. So now, if the trua is 9 beats, so then the tkiya is also 9 beats, katrua. If you made the shvarim 3 beats long, that's of course fine if the trua is 9 beats long. And in this calculation, you would have to do a tashrat would have to be 12 beats, 9 for the trua that's in it, and 3 for the shvarim that's in it. Someone who didn't make the tekiah 12 beats long, but made the shvarims longer, lo mitzvah, lo kamar, lo kamar. So then the tekiyahs weren't long enough, and so that set it is no good. You'd have to do it over again. And we'll stop here.